Hey everybody, how we doing? It's time to start a new project, and I'm going with a model this time. This is one from two different collections. One being my stash, and second being an actual collection. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan and have been for about 30 plus years. So in the early 2000s, when I was really into buying off of eBay, participating in auctions, I found the Sevans models K-9, and this is a resin kit. It's one of the old resin kits where if you drop this thing on the ground, yeah, it's going to shatter. So had this since mid 2000s, and I think it's time to finally get them out of the box and get them on the workbench. So, alright, I'm going to pause this real quick, take everything out of the box, show you what we got, and yeah, get to work on it. Okay, so K-9 here. Old school resin, like I said, very, very brittle. There are a lot of areas that need to be cleaned up. So a lot of spots for the file. There's a few nicks and dents in here that I just need to put some plastic putty on. It's got some weight to it, but like I said, this thing is it's brittle. If I were to accidentally drop it on the floor, it would shatter and I would not be very happy. There's a spot here right where the tail goes in that needs to be cleaned up a little bit, so yeah, a lot of cleanup. I will be definitely wearing a respirator for this, because yeah, this old school resin, it is not good for you. Gonna have to sand down this whole thing. What I actually might do is just get some sandpaper on a block and just back and forth until it's nice and smooth on the bottom, because yeah, this is it's pretty rough, but I'll get that taken care of. The head, you can actually see and with age, the body's discolored a little bit. The head hasn't, but the head is also, this baby's solid, where this one's this is hollow. The head is not too bad in terms of cleanup. There is quite a bit of bubbling here. I'll file that down, and there's some pock marks in here. I'll have to get some plastic putty in there and smooth that all out. So this is not going to be a 1 week build, I can tell you that right now. They've got, let's see, all the pre-drilled holes look good. I don't have to go in there and clean those out, so that'll make that easier. The rest of the parts, let me put this back here. You've got your instruction sheet. The back is always the painting guide, modeling tips. This is from a company called Sevans. The gentleman's name is Stuart Evans. As far as I know, he still has a online presence to this day. There are a few Doctor Who Sevens models out there. Actually more than a few. There's a couple different Daleks, which I have one of them. Cyberman, Cyber Controller, Ice Warrior, Davros, the creator of the Daleks. There's two different versions of him. I've got one of them. But yeah, these, for the most part, they were vacuum formed models. And when I first got, let's see, my first one was an Ice Warrior. I had never made a vacuum form model before, so that was interesting. Okay, still looks pretty good to this day. But all right, back to the parts here. There's a little chain there for K-9's dog tag. Put these back on the bag here so I don't lose anything. A little bit of your brass pieces here. You got your ears, your dog tag here, your buckle for the collar. There is a collar here, a little tartan collar that is meant to go around this plastic ring, which will go around his neck. The photo etch stuff here is I'm not sure if I'm going to try to bust through those holes with a tiny screwdriver on my pin vise. Seeing that this kit is very hard to come by nowadays, I might not even try that, but I don't know. I'll try it on one of them inconspicuously and see what it looks like from both sides. If it looks like I can do it, I will, but I'm not going to promise anything right now. The tail is just a spring with a ring on the end of it, and that just fits right in there. You just have to super glue it from the inside to where you feel you want to leave it. This is, there's nothing on the inside that's going to hold it in apart from super gluing it or hitting it with some hot glue or something like that. But plastic tubing. This actually goes in pretty deep. You've got one here for his sensor, which comes out. And then you also have, well, these are for his ears here. They get cut down, and then the photo etch parts go into those. And then also you've got one for his nose laser. And then this piece here, for the longest time when I was younger, I didn't know what it's for. But then after reading the instructions again, apparently this side of him, well, you got his logo there, and then this side is a computer monitor. You're expected to cut this to size and then fit it in there. There are air bubbles that I need to clean up. I'll just use some Vallejo plastic putty. There's a nick right there I need to clean up. And then, yeah, after that I'll just start working on painting and priming him. I will give it a good wash to make sure there's no residue on there. And then, yeah, I'll look at priming him. The K-9's had a number of different colors, variations of metal colors through the years. Dark gunmetal, darker steel, lighter steel, but I'm going to go with model color gunmetal gray here for the main body. The logo here, I'll do that in aluminum. The control box up here, I'm just going to take I'll just go through my reference materials since I have a huge Doctor Who collection to begin with. I've got plenty of pictures of what this actually is colored in, like what colors each button should be, and then yeah, we'll take it from there. This is one that I've been waiting to do for a long time, and I'm pretty excited I get to do it on the channel now. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and get them cleaned up, and after he's cleaned, I'll go ahead and start filing down. I'll do a little bit of filming with that, and then after everything's filed, sanded, I'll start filling some of these bubbles, and then we'll look at getting some primer on him. So Okay, I will be right back. Okay, let me just move my light here a little bit. Alright, so I started scraping away some of these little resin pimples. Some are smaller, there we go. Yeah, some are small, some are a little bit on the large side. I hit them with my hobby knife here first. Then I'll go back and file down the area. There are a lot of pock marks here. Maybe filling those in. We don't want, yeah, I don't know if you can see that there, but we don't want K-9 looking like Danny Trejo. Let me get the back end of my knife here. There we go. Yeah, I'm not feeling a whole lot more of them on here. Then I have to get in between these ribs on his neck here. I thought of using a scribing tool, but I think it's just easier just to use the hobby knife. Get this cleaned up, and then I'll get in there with the file. The file is when I'll put one of my masks on. I guess I'm so used to wearing a mask now in 2020. Just gonna be like old hat putting it on. But this will be an actual respirator mask because, like I said, these old school resin dust particles can be pretty nasty. The big one here, I got, turn my phone off there. Yeah, this one will be this one, the tail is actually affected by it, so what I'll do is I'll get in there with a fine one of my fine tooth files, one of the small ones, little precision ones, and reshape this whole area here. Watch my finger there. I work in a restaurant, so I'm always around fire and knives. I don't want to get myself with a hobby knife. Yeah, I'll clean that up on my own with a smaller file. Where's the other? This part right here, I'll fill that in with some putty. I'll get a sheet of sandpaper down. I'll just sand this whole thing down because you could probably sand a table leg with that right now. And then this part right here, that's ugly. So I think I'm gonna work at this a little slowly, just so I don't chip away something that shouldn't. And then after that's all done and everything's filed down, I'll wash it, scrub it down real good, and then I might actually use put an adhesion promoter on this before I paint it. Alright, so I'm going to keep on going with that, and then I'll let you see what it looks like afterwards. Okay, I'm going to do this on camera. If it fails miserably, I will not add it to the video. Okay, not too bad. I'm going to keep on going and put my mask back on. Alright, I'm going to turn this off right now just so I can get cleaned up, and I'll come back after I got this all, look at that, after it's all sanded down. Okay, just wanted to make sure it wasn't going to fail miserably, just like saying miserably. Okay. Okay, that's not too bad. I can finish that with I can probably go in there a little bit more. I don't want to accidentally slip and gouge it out though. Okay, let me take this off here. Hold on. Yeah, I don't want to slip, take out too much more than I need to. Then I'll be puttying even more. But yep, it's there's some progress there. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off and finish that up. Okay, so I got in there with my hobby knife. It's looking pretty good there. Obviously I need to fill in, focus there, I need to fill in all those little pock marks, but this is, filling it with my finger there, I think it's about as smooth as I can get it with the tools I was just using. I'll get in there with a little bit of sandpaper and just clean that up there, but the join right there is about as clean as I can get it with an X-Acto knife, and the cutting attachment on my Dremel. But yeah, we're getting there. So, all right, moving forward. Okay, work progresses on K-9 here. Pieces are washed. I have this chip here that I've got some of the Vallejo plastic putty in there. I'm gonna wait till it dries and then just keep on building it up. Yeah, that's right there, the plastic putty. Underneath, the sides, the front, the top, those look great underneath. Like I said, it's like Danny Trejo, full of pock marks there, so I've got a lot of those filled in. Gonna give it some time, sand it down a little bit. And I won't need a real coarse sandpaper, just a real fine one, just to more or less clean up the surface. And then yeah, add some more to it. And then after that, I'll sand it down again, hit it with some primer, and see where we're at. A lot of these ridges have some flash on the inside of them. I just took the bone saw here. There's a couple still here that I gotta clean up a little bit. But I'm not going too rough with them because I don't want to produce a lot of old school resin dust. But it's coming along. Like I said, this is an old kit, so trying to do it justice while taking my time so I don't make any major screw-ups. Trying to decide whether I want to pin the head or not. the way it's sculpted. Let me pull up this a little bit so I can. The way it's sculpted, it almost holds itself in place. Like when you get it there, it's not going anywhere. So I'm thinking maybe just some 5-minute epoxy, that should do it. That'll give me enough time to make sure he's completely, yeah, if I can speak, he's completely straight with his head being on there. But I got a little bit of sanding I gotta do right there. There's a tiny little crack there, so I'll fill that in and sand it down. But yep, he's coming along. So I'm going to get back to this and then be back with another update. Okay, so I am back, and if you hear that noise in the background, it's my washing machine. I'll speak up a little bit so you can hear me. The plastic putty from the Vallejo plastic putty, I put a couple pictures up on the Doctor Who model kits, garage kits group that I'm on Facebook, and someone mentioned, they said use milliput instead, and I understand why now. The stuff I had originally rubbed off, and I can still feel that there's a little bit of an indent in each of these little pock marks. So what I did was I have got my scale here, I've got my milliput. I measured it in grams because I feel that, oh, shut up, Sasha. Got my dog in the background. I like to measure it in grams instead of ounces because I think I get a much more precise measurement. I'm going to turn off the camera here for a second and let her outside. Shut up. Be right back. Okay, she's outside now, and I turned off my washing machine. Just gotta get some work uniforms cleaned up. Alright. I put my big jar rubber gloves, or nitro gloves, sorry. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and mix up some milliput and get some areas filled in. Obviously all the stuff under his chin, back of the head. There's a little bit of area on the top of the head here. The sides look pretty good. There's a little bit there. And then I started to fill in this area here where it chipped. But yeah, I'm definitely going to finish that with milliput. I've got this area here that I did clean up a little bit with my my Dremel. I'm going to clean that up a little bit more, and then I'll put some putty in there to smooth it all out. I have a couple of air holes. Well, at least, yeah, one tiny one there. Barely see it on camera. And then one more pronounced one right there. I'm going to get that taken care of. I actually have this piece of card, this card stock here. I want to cut this down and see what I can do about making a template for it. If I don't have to drop some silicone on this to make a mold and then do a cast resin insert, I won't have to, because I really don't want to spend forever and a day on this kit. But I'll get that taken care of. Oh, and I also have a little bit of a pock mark right there, so I'll go ahead and get K-9 filled in on his butthole. So I'm going to go ahead and get my milliput mixed up, and I like to put gloves on for this because it will gum up your hands something fierce. I'm going to get this done before I go to bed because I had a 12-hour day at work today and it was murder. So I will go ahead and yeah, this is I just got to get this completely mixed up first. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the camera, and then once I get a chance to start filling in all the gaps on him, I will go ahead and turn the camera on, and we will take it from there. But yeah, he's getting more action than he has since mid-2000s when I got this kit. So, all right, I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got a good amount of the surface area taken care of. All those pock marks are filled in. I'll know more in the morning after this is all dried. I'll sand it down a little bit, put another layer. I'm using a little bit of water on my fingers too, just to thin it out. That way it's not the easiest thing to spread when it's completely mixed. So you just put add a little bit of water to the mix, and then you can smooth it out. So I got that on here, which it's no problem. I'll just take some fine sandpaper and clean off all the areas. He's plugged up back there. And I'm got a little ball of milliput here. I'm gonna go ahead and get that chip taken care of. I looked in the box to see if possibly that was in there, the piece that I could just easily just add on to it, but no luck. So I just get to fill it in myself. And just add that in there. Like I said, just smooth out with a little bit of water. I did this kind of work extensively on the Biker Scout model on the from the speeder bike build. I extended those packs on him using some milliput. So I'm surprised I didn't think about that when I was starting work on K-9 here. Now K-9 is one of the he's one of the few Sevans models I have. Gentleman by the name of Stuart Evans, Sevans. Sevans models came out in the mid-80s. Did a lot of vacuum form Doctor Who kits. I have quite a few of them actually. I have have an Ice Warrior, which was my first one. I actually got that when I went to England the first time. I've been there twice. Would love to go again, but I was at the Longleat exhibition when they still had that going, and picked up the Ice Warrior model kit. And I had never done a vacuum form kit before, so that was pretty intense for a young model builder. But subsequently I picked up one of the Davros kits, and then years later when eBay became a huge thing, I was able to find one of the Dalek kits, because Sevans was known for their Dalek kits. And then I found K-9 here. I also did I never got a Never had a Cyberman kit, but I do have the Cyber controller, and he needs a little bit of work. When I started sanding down the two halves of the body, I think the one side is a little bit more sanded down than it should have been, but I can always fix that later. Alright, so that's not too bad right there. I'm going to smooth that out a little bit and then let it dry. I won't know completely Jesus. I won't know completely how it looks until after I prime it. But then I can add more and sand it down. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and leave that there. Who am I kidding? I'll probably play with it after I turn off the recorder. But I'll let that dry and see what it looks like then. So, okay, so when I get back, that should be dried. And both these pieces have been washed with, well, scrubbed with soapy water. So what I'll do next is I'll get a piece of sandpaper down, sand down the rough edges here, because like I said, you could probably sand down a table leg with just these edges. But I'll get that cleaned up, and then geez, next thing will be some primer coat. But yep, he's coming along. So, all right, we'll see you in a bit then. Okay, it's not the next morning, but I was playing around with this, looking at the photo etch pieces here. There is actually enough extra photo etch, like this part right here on top. I'm actually thinking that, let me pop this off here. I just had it, it's not staying in there. The one piece that's, well, one of the inaccuracies on here, there's not a whole lot of them, but this part right here, this actually, in the show, it's almost like a handle where you could pick them up. And I have enough leftover photo etch where I could actually bend a little bit of metal and create a handle. So I'm going to put on there. I'm going to try that out. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work and I just paint that. But if I can do it, yeah, I'll try it. Because honestly, there's all this leftover stuff's just going to get thrown away. So all I really have to do is just, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bends, and I can glue that onto there. So we will see. And I am going to take one of my small drill bits in my pin vise. I'm going to try drilling one of those little mesh holes in there. I mean, it looks like it was made to be drilled, so I'm going to try it. The completed models I've seen online, nobody's drilled them out. I've asked if anybody had thought about doing it. I haven't got any replies. But then again, I've just become part of some of these groups. And I also noticed too that some of them, there's actually, let me find it here. There is one of these plastic rods here, or pipes rather. Is that the one that goes in there? Yeah. You fit that in there and then you drop in the photo etch ear so it's standing up a little bit higher. There's been more than a few of these that I've seen online where, oh, that goes in pretty deep, about halfway, where they didn't use that. So I'm going to still make sure that I follow that and try and get a good fit on it. Of course, he got another one for his nose, and one for his extending eye. There's a couple of them that came with the kit. But yeah, I'm going to try that out and see what I can do. But yeah, if I can do it, it'll just add to the model. So okay, I'll get back to what I was doing. Okay, so it's been a while since I recorded the last segment, mainly because I had to go out and hit this with some primer. I just hit it with the Krylon. No, I don't know if it's Krylon or Stolium. It's out in the garage, but it's their brand of primer. It's the traditional gray rattle can. I do have to do a little bit of sanding. Took a few days because the temperature started to drop here, and it was pretty sticky for about 3 or 4 days. So I wanted to make sure that this was completely dry so I could, for handling purposes. I do have, like I said, in some of the undercuts here, I wasn't able to hold on to it just because during the time of day it was just getting too late to go out there and keep working on it. So I am going to mix a little bit of primers here. I'm going to put it, finish it up with some probably Vallejo surface primer, and get that taken care of. The prime crimes are evident here. Like I said earlier, priming always brings out the brings everything out so you can see it. So I have to just go back in here. I'll mix up a little bit more milliput and fill that in, sand it down. I do want to, K-9 in the show, I'm not sure if you've ever seen Doctor Who or not, but there's a couple rivet marks or screw marks. So I want to get in there and I'll figure out exactly like where they're supposed to be, and I'll just take a pin vise and drill them out a little bit just to add a little bit more realism to them. But that's where we're at so far. So I'm going to go ahead and start filling him in a little bit more. The underside here doesn't look too bad. I'm going to fill that in, sand it down a little bit more, and then yeah, we'll take it from there.